Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be doing a 2-minute tip Tuesday, which is no longer going to be 2 minutes anymore. I've decided it will just be a tip Tuesday, and I haven't done one of these in so long, and I just felt like I really wanted to do one. So I looked back over what you guys had written and said that you were kind of wanting to get any advice on, and loads of it was all about like moving out and or moving in with a boyfriend or something, and I feel like I've already done a couple of those, so I didn't really want to do another one focused around that. If you guys, I also don't know what I would do it on, because I've already kind of done it on sort of the stuff you really need when you're moving out, my moving out experience. I don't really know. If you wanted me to do more sort of moving videos, which feels like probably might be a little bit old now, then just leave it down in the comments below for me so I know what sort of moving videos you would be interested in. And also the same goes for if you want to know any other sort of tips, or you want me to do any tip video, then please leave that down in the comments section so that I can keep a log of them. So if I'm going to do a 2-minute tip Tuesday, it's not a 2-minute tip Tuesday. If I'm doing a tip Tuesday video, then I can make sure I'm doing something that you guys are interested in. So this one is also something that's highly requested, not just on doing a tip video, but also anything to do with holidays. A lot of you have asked about how Dan and I like plan our holidays, where do we buy it from, and kind of saving tips and stuff. So I thought I would do a video all about kind of where I look to buy our holidays and how we save for them and plan for them and that kind of stuff, really, and the websites that we use. And also not just that, but making sure that if you're buying a holiday, often you can get quite a lot of rewards for doing that as well, which I will explain into the video. So if you're interested in watching this, then make sure you keep watching. So first up, I'm going to talk to you about my favourite websites that I always look at if I'm trying to book a holiday and where I go to. Now, this also depends on what type of holiday you're doing. So I'm going to do this, first off, I'm going to be talking about kind of America holidays, because that's what Dan and I seem to be doing the most at the moment. We just seem to keep going back to the States, and how we purchase those. So quite often we now never book a package deal holiday. So if we were looking for a package deal holiday, so if we wanted to go somewhere in Europe, or like when we went to Turkey for a week, then I'd probably just look at like Thompson or First Choice, Thomas Cook, something like that. I wouldn't really be too worried about it. And then I usually always go all-inclusive as well, because it's generally a lot cheaper, and it's not just like a nice, really sunny week away. Then what we often do is we break it up. So we will book our flights separate to our hotel, and sometimes we don't even have a hotel. So this is kind of a long-winded way around of getting to the point. But something that I really, really love is looking at Travel Republic. Now, Travel Republic, oh, there's this fly driving me mad. So something I really, really like about Travel Republic is that they do £1 deposits. So they do everything separate, so you can book flights with them, you can book a package holiday, you can also then book hotels, and you can book like cars and things with them, like so your transport once you're there. But I've only really ever used them to book hotels, because they are, hands down, they have been the cheapest I have ever found it. We have got some incredible deals. Now, I will say I'm quite persistent with this. I like to, I'm quite a budget person. Even though I like to buy lots of things, I will try to make sure I'm getting the cheapest or the best value. So I will research and research consistently. And this is what you guys might not like. I do check it weekly, and I will check it weekly for months and months and months until I find a deal that I'm really, really happy with. So that, a lot of people can't be bothered to do that, and that's absolutely fine, but it's meant that Dan and I have sometimes saved absolutely hundreds of pounds because I've done that, and I just think it's worth it. And it doesn't take very long. If you've got a hotel you kind of know that you want to stay at, you know the area that you want to go. So for instance, the last time we went was in LA. I really wanted to stay at the Mondrian, which if you have seen my vlogs, you know I was quite disappointed in that one, unfortunately. But that's what my heart was set on. I really wanted to stay there. So I checked every single week, and I looked at loads of other sites like booking.com. There was loads of them that I checked, and I never found them even close to the prices that were on Travel Republic. So I looked on there, I checked weekly. It was always, and this was only for 3 nights, hovering around sort of that £800–900. I was like, I'm not paying that for just 3 nights. In the end, we ended up getting it for just under £500, which was amazing. That was for the 2 of us. And something else I really like about their site is that they don't do it per person. So when you put in your search what you want it to be, and you say you've got 2 adults going, they will do it on the total price, which I always prefer to see it on the total price, so I know what it is and what we can split it between us, especially if you're going with a group of people. I just think it makes it so much easier. So that's one thing, and the fact that they do £1 deposits I think is so good. So if you book it and then you book it with £1, and the ones that you can book with £1, you do have to check that you can cancel it. But if you cancel it, you're only losing £1, and you might have found it cheaper somewhere else. So that is something to keep in mind. So I think they are, by hands down, my favourite place to shop if I'm looking for solely hotels. We did it with Vegas. We got the MGM Grand for 3 nights at the end of June, and it was £88. It was just insanely so cheap. So I will, like I said, have everything linked down below, like websites and stuff where I like to book holidays with. The other thing to think about is Expedia. So for New York, we've actually booked it through Expedia this time, and it has actually been a package on there, which I'm a bit surprised at because I wouldn't normally do that. But the hotels and the flights were such a good deal, we couldn't pass it up. So I checked for every single week, sometimes a couple of times a week, I was looking, because different days and different times, the website will charge different prices. So that's something to keep in mind. And there's certain times that they know people look online more, so they will up the prices of it. So that is something that I really started to notice a pattern with. So that's something. But when you do that, if you're with, if you've got a Nectar card, then make sure you track that down as well, because we got 1,000 Nectar points for booking with Expedia. So there are sometimes like these extra little benefits, but with New York, we seem to have lucked out here. We looked on TripAdvisor, we looked for, not TripAdvisor, Expedia, and we put all the details in that we wanted. We saw they had a Nectar one, and then before I booked it, I'm with Quidco, so I looked on Quidco to see if there was any cashback offers or any deals for Expedia, and there was. So we did it, and we've actually ended up getting about £45 cashback as well for booking with it, plus 1,000 Nectar points as well. So there are ways that you think, okay, we might gain a little bit of money. So that little bit of money that we've got through our cashback, that could go towards a little bit of spending money, or it could go towards like our travel insurance or something. So we like reimburse the money, if that makes sense. So we put the money that we sometimes save back into it, back into the holiday. So that's what I would say kind of with like hotels and stuff. Hands down, Travel Republic is by far my favourite, and I've got a lot of people onto it as well that didn't really know about it. And then when it comes to flights, again, I will constantly look. Now, I think if you know you want quite a big holiday, then look to maybe do it the next year ahead. So what I'm usually doing is I look to see what it might be this year to get kind of a guide price, so I know how much to be putting away every single month, so that when we do suddenly see that great deal, we can just book it there and then. And that's what we did for Vegas. To be fair, a lot of people don't plan their holiday 1.5 years in advance. We happened to do that because it was the 4 of us, and it just happened to work out that way. And it was because both of us had holidays the next year, so we said let's do it the year after. But it meant that we could look at that next year and see how much it was going to cost, say for 2014, so that we could get a guide price to know how much it might cost for 2015, so that we could save up enough to be able to pay for it. Now, with flights, I've become a real big fan of booking them independently now. I look at Dial-A-Flight. That's when Dan and I went to LA and Vegas, and we did like a big month trip, and we got British Airways direct flights of £525 each. Now, also a time to be looking for flights is January and June. We booked ours in January. As soon as it was getting around like May time, I should never have done this, but luckily it worked out okay. I've sometimes looked to see if it would be any cheaper. Why you would do that, I don't know, because you could end up seeing a deal and really kick yourself for it. But it was going up to like £800, and I thought, my God, we've saved like 300 quid. So there is times of the year that are the best time to book your flights. So January and June for sure is when we seem to be able to book our flights for the cheapest for the year, for that coming year. Also, it depends on your location. So when we were looking to go back again with Matt and Emma, and I rang up Dial-A-Flight and I said to them, look, last time you offered me a really great deal. It was £525. It was absolutely amazing to LA. That was return flights with British Airways. What can you do for me now? And there is a little bit of negotiating I think you can do as well on the phone, and they will give you advice about when to come back. So I was quite impressed with with Dial-A-Flight. And I had a chat with them, and they were like gobsmacked, and that we got it for that price. And I said, well, to be fair, you were the ones who sold it to me. So I said that was the deal you were doing. It wasn't January and it wasn't June either. I can't remember what month it was, but I know it wasn't those months. And the guy I spoke to said, you're never going to get it for that deal. And he said what you could do, because what we were looking to was fly into Vegas and then fly out of LA. He said flying into Vegas always costs so much more. There's a premium on it. So it can be around £800 to be able to fly to Vegas. So he said what you could do is fly to LA and then drive there. He said, because I can get you flights for about 560, and then you could drive up to Vegas and then just drive back down again. So I had a chat with Dan about it, and he said the only problem is we then got to pay for a car for a whole week in Vegas that we wouldn't need before we go back to LA, which actually ended up working out nearly the difference of, because the car we wanted, nearly the difference of paying for the more expensive flight. So in that instance, it didn't really work for us, and we did have to pay the more expensive flight for that. But because we were constantly looking on Travel Republic, we got our Vegas hotel for a week for £225, £250 for a whole week, which is just, it's insane for the Mirage that was, for a full 7 nights. It is a lot about research, constantly looking, monitoring as well, and I'm always thinking about future holidays. I'm not always just thinking about this year or next year. I look even further ahead than that to think about where could we go and do we need to start planning for it now. That is something to keep in mind, is it does take a lot of time and a lot of research, but you can save. Sometimes you could save nearly thousands of pounds, especially if you're going for a long time. Now, something else to talk about if you are going for a long time is to actually think about not staying in a hotel. Now, we didn't stay in a hotel when we went for a month. We actually rented a cottage, and we did this on, I think it's called homeaway.com. Like I said, I have that link down below for you guys. And it was absolutely brilliant. We got it so much cheaper. I was always looking at hotels and thinking, Christ, we're never going to go, it's so expensive. So what I did was, I thought, I wonder if we could do any rentals, and I was really skeptical about it. I don't know why, because I've stayed in villas in like Europe and stuff before, so I don't know why the thought of doing it in America seemed strange. But I looked on HomeAway and that site kept popping up. So I looked on there, saw loads of great reviews, and it was all about trying to find a really good location that meant that also that we could park the car, because a lot of hotels in LA, I would say a good 90% of them, require you to have to pay valet parking as well, which soon racks up, which we soon realised when we stayed at the Mondrian. And we even said, well, we would probably not even stay at a hotel again next time, unless it's maybe for just one night. We would actually just rent like an apartment or something. That's what I'd recommend if you're definitely going long term. HomeAway was absolutely brilliant. They got really good reviews, which is my next point, is that I think you should look at when it's actually cheaper to go to certain places. Now, this might mean you go out of season for some things, but for instance, for us for New York, we're going in January. It is going to be absolutely freezing, but it's the cheapest month of the year to go as well because it's so cold. So I just thought, well, it'd be quite nice. It'd probably really snowy. Last time we went, it was the end of February and it was very cold anyway. So we're kind of like, let's just embrace it. The last thing that I would probably say is just to focus on your saving. So if you have like a holiday fund, then, or you just have a regular savings account, just think if you're constantly putting money into a savings account, then if you suddenly see this incredible deal, then you just have to jump on it, but you've already got the money prepared instead of waiting and then not having the money, and then you end up having to pay more money in the long run. So if you know in your mind, or you've got this plan, we really want to go on holiday next year, we want to go somewhere that's a bit more expensive, or we want to go traveling around sort of Asia or something, then just start saving immediately, even before you know where you might be going. If you just got the idea you want to go, then just start putting money away for it. So I know this is a super long video. I'm gonna probably try and edit a few bits out that I think is really irrelevant, but I hope it's really helpful. I'll have all the website links down below to Quidco, to like Travel Republic and Expedia. Make sure you're registered with Nectar as well, because Nectar card points seem to pop up quite a lot on travel sites. So I hope you guys have found this video interesting. Give it a thumbs up if you've liked it. Let me know of other tip videos you would like me to do. I'm sorry this is really long, but I just wanted to give you as much information as possible. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day. Make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.